and we're back here on CJAD 800. I'm Paul Afalo filling in for Barry tonight. We're talking with film critic Joe Belanger from BlackSheepReviews.com, doing the top 10, his top 10 from 2012. We just finished up the film The Impossible, which hasn't been released in Montreal yet. It's coming out on January 11th. This is a film, again, that it's a post the tsunami in India and in Southern Asia, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, now there's one thing that has bothered me about the film, that I haven't seen it yet, so it's basically based on previews, and I hope this doesn't offend too many people out there, but white people's problems when in a continent that doesn't have that many white people.
No, yeah, and that's another complaint I've heard about the film too, but I mean, essentially this, if I'm to believe that this story happened to this family, I don't think that their story is any less worth telling, just because they're white. So, I mean, I've heard that complaint. I don't really think it's too valid. I think that if you do see the film, I think the filmmaker's intentions to me seemed genuine and earnest, so I don't want to, fault them for anything. It was a touchy subject to take on to begin with, and I think they did as good a job as they could have.
All right, perfect. Well, you know what? I can't judge. I can only judge based on the previews that I saw, so I'm going to wait to see it in theaters, and then I'll make a decision for myself. We can talk about it again when I do. The next film that I see on your list is Les Mis, which just opened up on Christmas Day.
Indeed, and I saw it on Christmas Day, following having seen it the previous week as well. I've now seen it twice, and I loved it. I think that Les Mis is clearly not for everyone.
No.
It is 2.5 hours of 95% singing in your face about how horrible the world is, and that's not for everyone to enjoy. But and also some of the decisions made in this film are going to be turnoffs for people who love Les Mis. Because ultimately, the director, Tom Hooper, who was just coming off the King's Speech, decided to have all the actors sing live on set as opposed to pre-recording in the studio and then having them lip-sync to it. And subsequently, you get a lot more dramatic acting incorporated within the singing, and therefore some of the notes are not really hit as clearly or as pristinely as they could. So some purists will certainly be disappointed. For me, though, I felt that the effect of having them sing live brings the audience, and a film-going audience, the closest experience they can have versus seeing it on stage. Because ultimately, my having seen it twice, obviously it doesn't change from the first screening to the second screening, but when you're watching the first one, it's almost live. They're singing on set. A lot of it is one take during the musical numbers and whatnot, are the more intimate ones. So it captures the spontaneity that you would see on stage as closely as they can in an edited environment, right? So, and it's beautiful to watch. The cast, for the most part, it's fantastic. I cried several times. So, again, not for everyone, but if you think that you might enjoy it, you probably will a great deal.
Fantastic. Okay, so the next on your list is another film that I want to see that I haven't seen yet, Life of Pi.
Yeah, Life of Pi is just amazing. It is by far the most beautiful film I've seen in theaters this year. It absolutely must be seen on the big screen in 3D, and I don't say that very often because I'm not a huge fan of 3D, but this is an absolute must. I was extremely nervous to see this film. It doesn't happen very often where I have an anxious reaction to a film because I loved this book. I've read it twice, and I didn't see how they could really translate it to film. When they announced that Ang Lee was doing it, I'm a big fan of his, so I thought maybe if anyone could do it, it would be him, but I still wasn't convinced. And then when I saw it, within the first few minutes, I breathed a great sigh of relief. He captures the sensitivity, the tone perfectly, and makes it as grandiose and as biblical a story as it needs to be in order to be believed. So it's a marvel on the big screen.
All right, we just have a few more seconds before we have to go to the break, but Magic Mike is next on your list by Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, Magic Mike, most people would expect I put it there because Channing Tatum is super hot, but I've been in love with Steven Soderbergh, the director of the film, for much, much longer than Channing Tatum, so I'll explain that after your break.
All right, fantastic. When we come back, we'll have more with Joe Belanger, film critic from Black Sheep Reviews.